Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. We'll be reading from today. We will begin introduction of Gita, where they have the Mangalacharan prayers. So I will read the English translation. We'll continue. Okay. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who is established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhara, Shivasari, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. Oh my dear Krishna, you are friend of distress and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I offer my respects to Radharani and whose bodily complexion is like molten gold and who is queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. I offer my obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shiva Shadi, and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. It is the essence of Vedic knowledge and one of the most important Upanishads in Vedic literature. Of course, there are many commentaries in English on Bhagavad Gita, and one may question the necessity for another one. This present edition can be explained in the following way. Recently, an American lady asked me to recommend an English edition, English translation of Gita. Of course, in America, there are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita available in English, but as far I have seen, not only in America but also in India, none of them can be strictly said to be authoritative because in almost every one of them, the commentator has expressed his own opinions without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is an important line, dear devotees. Why we should read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita itself. It is just like this. If you want to take a particular medicine, then we have to follow the direction written on the label. We cannot take the medicine according to our own whim or the direction of a friend. Must be taken according to the direction on the label or the direction given by the physician. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita should be taken or accepted as it is directed by the speaker himself. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Sri Krishna. He is mentioned on every page of Bhagavad Gita as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. Of course, the word Bhagavan sometimes refers to a powerful person or any powerful demigod, and certainly here Bhagavan designates Sri Krishna as a great personality, but at the same time, we should know that Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as he is confirmed by all great acharyas, spiritual masters like Shankara Acharya, Ramanuja Acharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbaraka Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and many other authorities of Vedic knowledge in India. The Lord himself also established himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhagavad Gita, and he is accepted as such in Brahma Samhita and all the Puranas, especially in Bhagavatam, known as Bhagavad Puran. Therefore, we should take Bhagavad Gita as directed by the personality of Godhead himself. In the fourth chapter, we will discuss later from this place. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadhamanyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim. Yatkripātamaham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. Hare Krishna. We, uh, we began reading from the introduction of Gita, where Srila Prabhupada is first offering obeisances to the spiritual master, Omagyanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya, where he's telling that the spiritual master comes into one's life, they open, they bring us out of ignorance. Ajnana timirandasya. They remove ignorance by providing light of wisdom. And so, dear devotees, what is this ignorance? Ajnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya. So, we can say that everything is going perfectly. Hare Krishna. Asha Mataji, can you mute your phone, please? So, thank you. So, the wisdom, how is that wisdom will give knowledge, and then through that knowledge, how is this ignorance dissipated from the heart? Dear devotees, this ignorance is very deep actually. This ignorance, every living entity in this world, staying means they're actually being hit by this ignorance. There are different levels of ignorance also. And even the modes of material nature do have an impact on this ignorance based on our gunas. Srila Prabhupada is telling the spiritual master through his association by giving the truth, he will remove the ignorance. Not just that, a person who is lame cannot walk. Now, that person who cannot even walk, he can climb the mountain. So, how is that a person who is lame can climb the mountain? What is that signifying? No, that is signifying that the truth which the spiritual master gives, it opens up everything in one's consciousness. Because consciousness is a place and the repository for everything. Today morning we were discussing that how the spiritual master comes into one's life and then he gives everything. What does it mean giving everything? Giving everything in the sense, giving everything what is necessary to us. Now, there are so many unnecessary things also in this creation. Now, that unnecessary things, they do not have any value. They are like zeros. As Srila Prabhupada mentions about the zeros. So, material education, material wealth, material prosperity, material desires are all different zeros. Why? Because none of these things are connected to that one. So, material education will remain material when it is not connected to the Lord. Or the material wealth or the material desires, when they are not connected, when they are not transformed into spiritual, then they only carry zeros. And that zeros, even though we have thousands of zeros, the thousands of zeros do not have any value. So now we can say, no, what do you mean? Doesn't have value. Through those zeros, I can have big things in my life. Can carry, I can have a big car, this, that, so many other things. Yes, materially we can be luxurious through wealth, through money, but the soul which is sitting in the heart, that not the material wealth or material anything. That's what Srila Prabhupada says, that they are the zeros. So what does Omagya mean? This actually means that the ignorance will be dissipated when the truth comes into our life through our acharyas and then their words. When we follow the words of our acharyas, what happens, dear devotees? The truth which is there. Now, the truth is not ignorance. Truth is actually free from ignorance because it is on an absolute plane. Because no matter what person is in which state of consciousness, if he simply gets connected to the truth, what happens is the ignorance which we don't perceive that we have an ignorance, that ignorance which we don't know, that will be removed. How does it go? First, the ignorance which we don't know, we will come to know that there is ignorance. Not just coming to know that there is ignorance, slowly we will know how to actually come out of that, how to actually remove that ignorance. There's only one way to remove the ignorance, dear devotees. Our heart, our consciousness should be completely filled with the absolute truth. When our heart is filled with absolute truth, then what happens? Then there is no space for ignorance. For example, if you have in a room, let's say only two people can sleep in the bed. Okay. Currently, you don't need that room because you're only two, husband and wife. You have another room where you have another bed. But you don't need that. For you, whatever you have is good. But when a guest comes, what do? We accommodate him so that two people can stay. Right? So this ignorance, when we understand that the truth when it comes into our life, what happens is slowly the so-called ignorance means any unwanted things, they are removed from our life. It's not required. It's definitely not required. So that's how the ignorance is actually dissipated from the heart. Because what are we trying to do? We are trying to add the truth. For example, there is a glass of water which has dirt. There is water in the glass, but the water has some dirt in it. So what do? You add pure water to it. The more you add pure water, then the dirt or ignorance is removed. We can also do the other thing. We can throw the water which is there with dirt and then add fresh water. Yeah, that can also be done. So what is this process of removing the ignorance? The process of removing ignorance is itself Krishna consciousness. Now that is what Srila Prabhupada is actually mentioning in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, and then he is actually requesting his spiritual master, oh my dear Lord, please, my dear master, please give this shelter. And through that person who has received or who actually came out of that ignorance, that even though if a person is lame, he can climb the hill. That means he gets that strength because what is happening? Ignorance is removed. Knowledge is coming into his heart. Very powerful. When knowledge comes in the heart, the ignorance is dissipated. Just like there is this beautiful example of Arjuna. Beautifully, he at one state he was fully loaded with grief. But immediately when Lord started telling, Arjuna, addressing Arjuna for his question, then he concludes the question that, oh, my dear Lord, there is so much grief. Please help me. Then there are thousands of things which can be spoken. But Lord spoke only one thing which can actually remove that grief from the heart. That is what spiritual master does in our life. What they do is they come and then they help us to come out of that. By giving what? By giving the real truth. What is the real truth? Anything which is congenial to Krishna consciousness, accept it. Anything which is not congenial to Krishna consciousness, try to reject it. Now, there are certain situations where we might or might not reject, but we should do our best to reject them. There are certain practical situations where we will be kept, where we have to accept it. There's no other go. Then in that case or in that scenario, we should try to find or a way or a mean to come out of it. Now, when we depend on the words of the Lord, then He will give intelligence. Through that intelligence, we can come out of it. Why not? Definitely. So, by the process of Shavana, those things are removed or dissipated. So, that thing we need to address. Now, that is called as Om Jnana. So, when this Om Jnana Timirandasya, we understand, dear devotees, what happens is it's a clear indication that through the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, through the process of hearing, through the process of, meditating on the instructions of the acharyas, what are we doing is we are trying to spend the time more towards that. More towards what? More towards the absolute truth. When we spend time more towards the absolute truth, slowly what is happening? Unwanted weeds which are there, they are removed. Actually, what is the intent of a weed? For example, if I put some seeds, on the sidelines there is weed also. The weed also looks like a tree sampling only. But a person who actually knows, then he knows which one is the weed, which one is the real plant, real sampling. If he has an idea or a clue. Now, what this weed does is, the weed which is there, it doesn't allow for the tree sampling or the plant sampling to grow, because it will eat away all the energy which the plant has to get. Because that is the whole idea of the weed. It will take all the energy from the plant, and then eventually the plant will die and the weed would grow. That's why people who are doing farming, what they will do is they will check for weeds. And then the weeds, how they remove is also interesting. They will not just cut on the top, they will uproot from the roots. Please understand. If we just cut from the top again, because the roots are there now, it will come back again. Likewise, this ignorance which we are discussing, the devotees, this ignorance is not like, oh, okay, today I found this ignorance and then immediately I came out of it. Tomorrow another ignorance will come, another ignorant state will come. Day after tomorrow, another ignorant state will come. Because what is happening? The roots are not removed. That means the desire to come out of that ignorance should also be classified. Because ignorance is deep, right? Anything which we are associated with the material plane it will lead to ignorance. Ignorance is what? Ignorance is tamo. That means it's in darkness. It's the niscience. So this niscience, what it does is, it doesn't allow that bhakti lata beach to grow, because it's like a weed. It will eat away the bhakti lata. Because even if you don't water the weed, still it will become strong. Likewise, even though if we are not taking shelter of this ignorance, still this ignorance can grow. For example, dear devotees, there's two things to be done here. On one side, one should remove the weed, and on the other side, one should water the sampling which we have planted. There's two things. For example, watering, we started watering the tree sampling, but we ignored the ignorance. We ignored the weeds. And what happens? The weed will not allow the tree sampling to grow. That means technically what should happen is not only one should be free from this materialism, on the other side, one should also practice Krishna consciousness to the core of the heart. Becoming free from materialism means uprooting the weeds. But if you are not watering the root of the tree sampling, which you are supposed to do, then that is also not helpful. Really, when the sadhaka will come out of this ignorance is when the sadhaka fully understands that I am a dependent soul, I have problems in my heart, in my consciousness. Let me take shelter of the words of the acharyas and then move forward. What does it mean that taking shelter of the words of the acharyas? Two things. Removing the ignorance from the heart. That means anything on a plane of materialism is an ignorance. Now, dear devotees, practically, when we see this, it's not that easy to remove to curb the materialism completely from the heart. Because we were discussing today in the morning about that how this materialism sometimes, not sometimes, always becomes an obstruction to the sadhaka who really want to aspire Krishna consciousness, who really wants to practice Krishna consciousness. Because now, when we really see, dear devotees, time is another factor which keeps us in this material plane and then unnecessarily takes away our consciousness and also our body and also our life which is there. But on the other side, when we really understand this, that this materialism is really not a thing of mine, then what do? We try to become free from that. Not just that, that is becoming free from that is by understanding the absolute truth. That is Om Ajnana Timirandasya. How is this Jnananjana Shalaka is established? How is that Jnana is established when one is watering the root of the sampling? When one is watering the root of the sampling, then what happens? Then that Jnana is manifested because you are no longer are hankering for that materialistic things or materialistic activities rather than where are we hankering? We are hankering to grow that Bhakti Lata beach. Now, if a sadhaka comes to this plane, means he is really aspiring for pure devotion. Because because how do we know that the sadhaka is aspiring for pure devotion? Because one thing is he left this materialistic activities, materialistic plane. He's no longer in the materialistic plane. But on the other side, what is he doing? He's actually practicing the spiritual activities. Now, how is that? Through watering the root. Now, this consciousness, Srila Prabhupada wanted to give us. That's why if you see at the end of the preface, he says at least one devotee should become pure. He says that if one devotee becomes pure, his mission is accomplished. That means that one devotee who is there, he should be free from everything. He shouldn't have even a tinge, everything. He should be free from everything, all activities. Now, this aspiration, when one does in life, this is the beginning of removing ignorance from our consciousness. We should practice dear devotees. Slowly but steadily, we should understand that, yes, why am I unnecessarily spending something here? We discussed, remember few months back, we discussed about the need and the want. I need it. We say that sometimes we said I want it. So one is a requirement, other one is we can survive, we can exist without that. I really need it. I really need it means he's just desperate. It means he should honor Prasad. That is really required for him. Otherwise, if he doesn't eat Prasad, what happens? He becomes weak. Now, to have an ice cream on top of that, that is not a requirement. Because without ice cream also he can sustain. Now that ice cream is a want. Honoring Krishna Prasad because you are hungry. You have to eat Krishna Prasad. Now that is a requirement. If you do not eat that, then you'll become sick. right? But on the other side, topping up with an ice cream, that is not a requirement. That is just a want. Now we need to see if we actually see our life in this plane, dear devotees, then slowly but steadily we can understand what this Krishna consciousness is meant for. Our acharyas, they are not against, let's say if a person is a millionaire, our acharyas are not against them, or they do not have any grudge to that person. Why? Because he's a millionaire. No, it doesn't matter for them. He's a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, it doesn't matter for him. All it matters for him is he practicing Krishna consciousness or not? I remember today one devotee was sharing. He was a scientist retired. He's a very nice person. He's 72 years old. He's practicing Krishna consciousness nicely. He tells that every day I hear the class, we all hear through our spiritual master. He also hears. And then he's sharing me. It's very, very interesting. He tells, now I hear the class twice. Now he's retired. He says, I'll hear the class daily twice, and then after that, I write the letter on what I've understood in the class. I said, this is good. I said, how much time it takes for you to understand the whole class? He says, I have to hear 2 times. That means 3 hours of hearing, and then after at least 1.5 hours, I have to write and then assess what I've understood. And then he submits the message before he sleeps every day. I said, this is very good. Because what are we trying to do, dear devotees, through this service? An action which is not there in our life before. Because we never discussed the truth in this level. Or we don't know what this process of Krishna consciousness is. But through this, what is happening is a new habit is cultivating in his heart. What is happening? He is coming to the state of Krishna Smarana. Through that Krishna Smarana, what is happening is not just that writing is there, he is actually thinking about what he is writing. Is that not something special in one's life? It is special. How much time we think about the Lord? If we do not put on pen and paper, how much time we will think? Hardly any. So that's why this is a great uh, habit to cultivate. Now, through this habit, what is happening? Slowly, slowly, the ignorance is dissipating and then the relationship is intensifying. Relationship with the spiritual master and the Lord, it is intensifying. Because what are we doing? We're trying to read, we're trying to assimilate, we're trying to write down the steps, and we're trying to think about that and then see what best can be done. Accumulate. That is accumulation. Accumulation of what? This is real knowledge. This is how the ignorance from the heart is dissipated. Just like the Mataji was asking to Srila Prabhupada, and Mataji was asking, right, can you recommend me an English Bhagavad Gita? And then Prabhupada actually started looking. He was really wanted to do some service to her. And then he concluded and said, oh, sister, or, just Prabhupada was telling to that Mataji, no, I cannot recommend anyone because I don't see anyone good. And then he started telling, I'm going to write, and then so that you can understand this. So this is how, first what he did, he checked the environment. And then he found that there is no one who is closer to actually present the truth. Then what he did, he immediately jumped onto it and then started doing it. Now, this is the heart of a Vaishnava. Even though even though the person whom she's, the person whom we are associating, that person might not be a devotee. But that aspirational goal is what keeps us moving forward. So this we need to understand. Actually, this is real Gita Jayanti. What is real Gita Jayanti? Real Gita Jayanti is to come out of that ignorance, come out of that grief. Real Gita Jayanti is this, where we try to understand. We should also know the glories or the greatness of the Gita. There in the same introduction, we will actually see Gita, the slokas from Gita Mahatma, where But Srila Prabhupada very nicely quotes from Gita Mahatma that this is how the truth has to come, and this is how Arjuna received solace from the instructions of the Lord. He was very, very happy, dear devotees. Arjuna was, the moment he submitted, he was elated. Up until that point of time, he's thinking, he's trying to understand, assimilate, correlate, but none of those things are working for him. And later on, he completely surrenders. So this ignorance which we are talking has to be removed. We might be sitting, and then the ignorance is something which can only be removed through the absolute truth. There's no other way. No other way, because this ignorance is not just coming now. Oh, so many lifetimes. So many lifetimes. All the animals, they don't know what they are doing. All the human beings who do not take up this process of Krishna consciousness, they do not know what they are doing. That means the action which they are doing, which is not in alliance, that means what is that? What kind of action is that? That action is also ignorance, dear devotees. It can be any action. Dhritarashtra, Dhritarashtra was, he should have stopped that Draupadi, you know, Vastravarana, he should have stopped there itself. Understanding that one shouldn't insult a woman. He knows that he shouldn't do that. But due to ignorance and that raga which is carrying for his son, that didn't allow him to speak a word. Is that not something? Is that not something very deep? It is, because if you see, even though he knows that that is a problem and a mistake, but still he couldn't stop that. That gamble is itself incorrect, and then gambling, putting the family through that is even ignorance, is even more. There's no other option. He could have stopped there itself. Arey, why are you doing this? What kind of thing is this? But no, he did not speak a word. Why? Ignorance. So this ignorance is there through life after life, actually. The children do not know certain things because there's no knowledge. The moment we begin giving knowledge, he will understand. Then what is happening? The ignorance is slowly, slowly removed from one's consciousness. So when Prabhupada was being requested that please give us a Gita, then he said there is no Gita, and then he said I will write one. No, that's how the writing of Gita began. Sometimes feel that Mataji was inspired by the Lord, and then the Lord spoke those words through her. No, Srila Prabhupada immediately accepted. Now, there are certain situations in Srila Prabhupada, he accepted the words of an unknown person also. Now, how is that an Acharya accepting words of an unknown person? We know that example, right? A person, when he saw Srila Prabhupada distributing magazines, he said, oh, Swamiji, magazines are good, but people will just read and then throw it off. But if you give books, then it is good for everyone. Now, the moment Srila Prabhupada heard that, no, he don't know who that person is. But he accepted those words. Why? Because that is pleasing or helping in the service of a spiritual master. Now, what is he checking? At every step, what is he doing? He's checking, is this pleasing my spiritual master? Is this pleasing the Lord? If yes, I'm going to do it. If not, I will not do it. Even though when he received that dream from his spiritual master that go take sannyas and then spread this Krishna consciousness, he did not immediately get up and took sannyas. he reconfirmed from another God, brother. So that was a dream. He wanted to receive from a person whom he knows that this is what happened. Do you think this is the right time to take? Then he immediately says, Keshamar immediately says, no, 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 you should take sannyas. This is good for you. And that's how that thing was established here, devotees. So this is not ignorance, actually. Checking one's heart is a great asset, is a great culture, is a great habit for us. For example, dear devotees, two persons are there. Two persons are there and both do the same service. For example, the third person, the fourth person comes and is glorifying the other person, not us. He's glorifying the other person. You both do the same service, but he's glorifying that person only, not you. Then what happens? Immediately our heart will not accept that. If we do not have right attitude, our heart will not accept that. If we did not do it fully for the pleasure of the Lord, for the pleasure of Krishna, then the heart will not accept. The heart will not accept this situation. Why? Because there is ignorance. Both of us, we are doing service to please the Lord, to please the spiritual master. How is my heart not responding in a correct way? This is introspection. This is what a sadhaka has to do. Immediately, when the heart is not correct, immediately we should tell the heart, no, 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 this is not right. Oh, dear mind, don't dwell on those things. Don't dwell on name, fame, profit, or adoration. Don't dwell on that. Just concentrate what I'm saying. This is free from missions. It's very important. And here later Srila Prabhupada is confirming again that Krishna is not an ordinary personality. He is assuring that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. One should accept that. And then he started writing, right? Srila Prabhupada is quoting different acharyas and their words, their heart, stating that all of them accepted. That's how the mercy flows. A lot of people would ask this question, how is this mercy flowing? How do we know that the mercy is flowing? How do we know that we are receiving this mercy? The moment we follow their words, that is the best way to receive the mercy. Not that is the best way, that is the only way, dear devotees. I'll tell you, through our sadhana, through our hearing, or through our reading, or through our doing services, through that we are not getting mercy. Because through our sadhana, through our reading, through all these things, what is happening is they are still not yet on the pure plane. That means there are impurities. That means that impurities has to be completely removed. Right? So then what is the hope and shelter for us? Because those impurities will go slowly, slowly, it will take time. But how do we receive the mercy today? Simply following them, their words. That is the best thing, dear devotees. And if we aspire for that, then that is the greatest shelter. Arjuna accepted that. Arya, Lord Chaitanya, he also accepted that. Now he said, oh, my dear spiritual master, I know these, I know shlokas, so many shlokas. Do you want me to recite them? Ishwarapuri said, no, 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 you don't have to do that. You just keep that aside. You just chant Hare Krishna. And immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted. Dear devotees, this is the best way to come out of ignorance. See, the Lord is showing himself through his example. Not that the Supreme Lord is in ignorance. What I'm trying to say is, a normal jiva like us, if the jiva wants to be free from this ignorance, what he should do is, this is what he should do. Take shelter of the Lord. That's what Srila Prabhupada is telling, right? Every word, those are the words of Krishna himself. Those are not some kinds of words, some kind of words. No, those are the real words, real manifestation. That is the heart of the Lord. What is Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the heart of the Lord because he is actually sharing it to Arjuna. So for that reason, Srila Prabhupada is confirming that one should accept him as is, that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just like how all the acharyas accepted. Parabrahma, Paramdhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavam. Arjuna confirms this again in 11th chapter of Gita. Oh, my dear Lord, everyone accepted. Asito, Devalo, Narada, Vyasa, all these personalities accepted. Oh, my dear Lord, they are all great personalities. And in their footsteps, I am also accepting you as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the way to remove this ignorance from our heart. Now, how do we know that we are really removed from the ignorance? Dear devotees, when difficulties come, still we are sticking to this process. Still we are sticking to this movement, and we are not bewildered. Then we need to understand ignorance is slowly going. And then, not just that, we should also understand this, these are the glories of my spiritual master. These are the glories of the Acharyas because it is only their mercy I am able to withstand this difficult state in my life. Thank you, my dear Father. That's how we come out of it. It's very important. So the more we study or churn this, the more we will get the benefit. Now that's how slowly Srila Prabhupada again confirming that. You see, now Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is easy to understand that absolute truth. It is easy to follow his words. And then in the next phase, he is discussing about the Guru Parampara. Now, first, what he did is establishing the Supreme Lord. Just imagine, just understand, even in the introduction itself, the first para itself, Prabhupada wants to give us the assurance that no, Krishna is not an ordinary personality, he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Eko Devo, Eko Mantra, Eka Shastra. Eko Deva is who? Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Eko Mantra is what? Hare Krishna Mantra. Eka Shastra is what? Bhagavad Gita as it is. And Prabhupada was also explaining in the introduction very beautifully. This one, what is this? He's reassuring that none of those books which are available in the market are coming closer to this Bhagavad Gita as it is. Wow. If somebody is asking us, why are you reading Srila Prabhupada books? We should know. We should we should uh, we should tell them because this is directly coming from the Guru Parampara, disciplic succession. He's not an ordinary personality. He's an empowered personality directly by Shaktavesh Avatar, directly empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's how he was began writing. Very important. That's why Acharya, one should never imitate Acharya, but rather one should follow in their footsteps. Just like the child would never imitate the father. Rather, what he will do? Rather, the child will simply accept the words of the father and then move forward. So that kind of assurance one should develop, and that we can get through the process of Shravana. It's very important. So then slowly, what is happening? Oh my Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya. The knowledge is inculcating in our heart. The more the knowledge is coming, the more we accept that knowledge. Just like Arjuna accepted, not blindly. Did Arjuna accepted blindly? No. He did not accept blindly. First, before that acceptance, what he did? He submitted himself. Then later on, acceptance came. Likewise, our ignorance will be removed later after the acceptance. After the submission, after the acceptance, this ignorance will be removed. Up until that point of time, ignorance will stay. That's why if you actually see the devotees who are actually practicing Krishna consciousness very sincerely, they never proclaim in their life that they are a devotee. I know so many wonderful practitioners who are really practicing the process of Krishna consciousness very nicely. They never proclaim themselves that, oh, you know what, They never say that, oh, Prabhu, I'm a great devotee. I've never seen a devotee telling that he's a devotee. So that is an indication that he's a devotee. So she's a beautiful science. Yeah, even Srila Prabhupada, he always says that, oh, my spiritual master sent all these disciples. By his mercy, all of them are also practicing Krishna consciousness. That means he is ready to give respect to anyone. That means what is he doing? He's giving respect to everyone. Whatever the other person supposed to receive, he's giving that. And then after that, what is he doing? Practicing pure devotional service. Very, very important. This we need to understand. So the more we understand the truth, then it's a clear indication that only this way of acceptance, understanding the truth, following the truth, and coming to that state of Krishna Smarana is important in one's life. I was discussing a practical example. Let's say if a person in a mid-age, his body is totally deteriorated and then he left the body. He doesn't know the truth because he's not in the absolute plane, rather he's in the relative plane. Through the relative plane, what is happening? He has so much anxieties while he's living. That means what is that anxiety doing? That anxiety is carrying to the next body, next life. But as I said, if you have practiced the science of Krishna consciousness nicely, then what happens? You will remember the Lord. As simple as that. Now that is the science. Now this science we need to aspect. Hare Krishna. It's 5:50. Anyone would like to add any questions? Anyone? It is 5:50 now. Anyone would like to add any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, so very nicely you explain about to surrender to the Guru, which is very important in our bhakti journey. So Prabhuji, and also that Agyana Timirandhasya, the Pranam Mantra Mangalacharan, I heard from senior devotees that it's written by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, and he dedicated to Srila Rupa Goswami in these prayers. So, Prabhuji, and also another point, it's a very important in my life also. You give an example of a scientist, devotee, who listened to the lectures 2 times and then take the notes. So that's why attentive listening and passive listening. There are 2 types of listening. So I am working on that, Prabhuji, because sometimes I get distracted uh, while the class going on. So that's why it's very important to have attentive listening. And so sometimes I just take the notes in the class, otherwise I'll forget. And sometimes I do not have time to listen again the lecture. That's my limitations and shortcomings, but it's very important so that it will go to my heart if I do this attentive listening, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing that up. Active listening, passive listening is very, very, very important. For example, hearing while we are doing some work, or hearing, sitting attentively, and then just concentrating on that. There's so much difference on that. And then hearing through relationship, feeling that this person is really helping me. This person is really, he has good intentions to give Krishna consciousness. This person is really working on my consciousness. He really matter. It really matters. Uh, our advancement in Krishna consciousness matters a lot for him. With that relationship, when we hear, then it gets connected more on a deeper level. Then what happens is slowly we will actually follow all the principles nicely. Then this Krishna consciousness becomes our life and soul. And I remember uh, when hearing daily from the spiritual master, it gives a great solace and hope. And we always get this consciousness that yes, yes, this Krishna consciousness is the essence, and this is everything for me, and this is my life and soul. So that desire is very, very helpful in our life, because what it does is it protects us from so many unwanted weeds, which we discussed at the beginning, right? These weeds are they look like a plant only, but it is not a plant. Likewise, our ignorance sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times it looks like a realization only, but it is not a realization. It is a fake realization. So we should be very, very careful. We should always check, is it again coming from Guru Sadhu Shastra? We should check that nicely, then move forward in our bhakti, and then try to aspire to grow this Bhakti Lata beach to the best of our ability. And we should be very humble. We should be very humble with everyone and then move forward. If anyone wants something, we should just give that, and then we should continue practicing Krishna consciousness, practicing pure devotion in our life. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anyone else would like to add?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Because
Please
Krishna
tell.
Prabhupada. Prabhu missed you yesterday.
Hare.
Thank you for coming back and beautiful message. Thank you for starting this series, this reading Bhagavad Gita. Very beautifully explained on the dependency on the Guru, on how Smarana works. So going back and listening and then preparing notes. Very, very true, Pro. First time when I hear, I'll miss. The mind is so chanchala, it gets deviated in between. Though I sit concentratedly, also it goes on. So the second time, oh, this is what I missed at this point, at this minute, would come in if we listen. So that's a very good point. Prabhuji, to follow and take away as well. The smarana. Then we'll understand the karuna, the prema, on what spiritual master is investing the time, energy for us. They have you have a lot of items to do, a lot of services that your guru also has given. But why exactly are you coming in for us? If I understand that, that itself will, and how much of a time should I spend on these classes to have that smarana come in, which is for my upliftment, again, not for somebody else. So thank you for reiterating it and translating the explaining it more in detail on what Prabhupada is trying to say in this purports and commentary. Thank you, Prabhuji. Grateful to you. Hare
Hare Krishna. Actually, Prabhupada will be very pleased when we really study and hear his books. Like just like Prabhupada actually says this, and should actually continue the process of hearing. Just like a lawyer, he would try to assess. We should study thoroughly, and then because what happens is when we spend time in Shravana Kirtana, what happens is slowly unwanted weeds are removed, because we don't get free time to watch cell phone or to watch some nonsense on YouTube. We don't get any free time. We simply put our focus fully on this. I remember a spiritual master telling 1 year back, he said, if you really love me, don't watch YouTube. That's what he said. So these are all. So when we try to follow those things, then we remember them. Then what happens is slowly we develop conviction through them, and then Srila Prabhupada looks so beautiful, and his followers, they look so beautiful, and then they become our life and soul, and we want to do some service for them. That will come naturally from the heart. That should come. I remember my spiritual master never asked anyone, give some donation, give this, give that. No, he says that if you get inspiration, Krishna will inspire from your heart, and then you do it on any service. That's how he actually deals with everyone. Because because everything has to be done from the heart. No, nothing should be done externally. If I am doing not, if I'm not doing everything from the heart, what happens is something, sometimes one day this will become heavy because I'm not investing the heart or the consciousness. I'm not fully focusing on that. For example, if you're eating prasad, if you don't know what you're eating, then you really, if you're not, like if you're not really relishing what's being given to us, then how do I know that, right? There's when we begin relishing, we go into the detail. Oh, with you know with how much love they have made this, who made this. This is a perfect blend. Rice dal sabji is great. Chutney is also great. Oh, the sweet is so wonderful. We go into the details. Just like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj, he goes into the details. He says that, Are, to write the pastimes of the Lord, this book will not be sufficient. And he always says that I'm condensing so much, I'm already condensing. Because it will take lifetime, right? Because he has invested heart. His entire life was invested in that. No, that is his feeling. No, that the moment Srila Prabhupada says, right, in this paragraph, he says, Oh, I checked every book, but there is no book closer to Bhagavad Gita as it is. Why did he say? Because nobody is speaking about Krishna. Nobody is speaking about his words. Nobody is speaking about his representatives. Nobody is speaking about their glories. They're just repeating their opinion. Who wants their opinion? The Jiva is actually facing difficulties. He has problems. How can, if a Jiva has a problem, how can he dissipate another person's ignorance? He cannot. Only the Lord and his representatives, they can dissipate. Because Lord, through the empowerment of the Lord, Acharyas, they come. And through their words, through their blessings, we get power, we get that energy, we get that Shakti. Because that Shakti is coming from them. I remember my spiritual master always tells this. Everything is coming by the mercy. Nothing is mine. Always tells this. And he's very honest in that. So this I try to think more and more because this is how we come out of ignorance. This is what we need to aspire. The smarana, Krishna smarana has to be there. Krishna smarana means Krishna and his devotees. Hare Krishna. I think I'll stop here. Uh, thank you all very much. If I cause any inconvenience through my words, please excuse me. Uh, we'll continue tomorrow. I'm sure as Prabhu, please take over call and then sing today's bhajan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Thank you so much for explaining so well the wonderful Guru Pranam. Om Ajnana Timirandasya. Thank you. This is something we invoke every day, and it's very important that we understand the meaning. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, to tell us how we should water the root and uproot the weeds. Another example I've heard is the putting the ointment of the Guru's knowledge in the eye, because even if there's light, if we have a cataract, we cannot see. So the Guru has to do like eye surgery so that we can see. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. Brahmaji is speaking about that.
Mm.
That's how the pure devotees would see through their consciousness. And then when we just follow them, then we are also sheltered and protected.